Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Sorry, trying to fix minor issues here. Hopefully they are fixed. Anthony Stabile and Andy Serling as we head towards the weekend. 8-race card today. We've lost a little time, so we'll get rolling along. Heading over to NYRA Bets. Use the promo code BONUS200 and we will match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have a $15 bonus, $75 each or more at Aqueduct in Keeneland today. They have the Grade 1 Maker's Mark today. Oh, you're rolling along. $300 buy-in for the Aqueduct Saturday contest. Everything's on speed dial here. $300 buy-in. You have till 5 o'clock today to sign up for this contest, the Saturday contest. Head over to NYRA.com/contests. What else do we have? America's Day at the Races on FS2, 1 to 3 and 4 to 6 as well. I know we're on a regional, I think, from 3 to 4. Not exactly sure which one. All right, let's get rolling with race number 1. A couple of scratches in race number 1. Right now, a heavy favorite with Major Spin. We'll take a look at his last race, and you and I are both taking a shot against him. Don't have him in our top 2.
Yeah, I didn't want him to get off the Rudy claim. He got to the top last time, and he beat a pretty easy bunch last time, Andy. Beat John's Protege and Cheeky Tico. He went fast early last time and was able to just separate from those horses. I don't like what he beat last time. I will take the rider change on Charger to the apprentice Jamie Torres. He's been facing better, I believe, and I will take Charger off the rider change.
We'll take a look at Charger's race 2 back. We finished second. Holy Matrimony was third in that race, a horse that I was interested in that won't be playing today. And I don't have an argument with Charger. I'm not a big fan of Major Spin. I don't think the track was majorly biased. The rail was probably a slight edge last time. But the figure is backed up. Cheeky Tico did come back to win. I'm not way against Major Spin. He just doesn't do a lot for me at a super short price, and I'll take the other speed in here. I don't have a really knock on Charger as well. Obviously, I have him second also. But one whirlwind ride. I'm hoping that Lee Rodriguez Castro is aggressive with this horse out of the gate, and he's been running against better horses as well. So you have one horse who's been running against lesser horses at a short price against a couple horses who've been running against better horses. So take a slightly better price than the ones, though I imagine by post time, I don't think you're going to see 3 to 5, but
no,
maybe that will be the case. Race number 2 at a flat mile. We'll start out with the horse you have on top, My Friend's Beer, who got a very good trip to win last time out, but I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, he had a good trip last time, like you said. Claimed back by Dominic Scatino. He ran him one time. He ran into, that was the day Daddy Knows came back, and the real Daddy Knows showed up and ran that monster fig. He kind of rode the coattails onto that fig as well, but he came back. He ran well in his 2 subsequent starts. Came back with a nice race last time out, and I think he figures to sit kind of a comparable trip in here, right? He's got. He should be forward in a race. Mount Travers figures to have some speed. Salippo stretching out figures to have some speed outside of him.
Salippo, he's not a speed.
You don't think Salippo will be forward coming out of the 7/8 races and other sprints?
No, I don't, but we can disagree about it.
I thought he'll be forward.
I think he'll be close to last.
I figured
early,
it'll be.
Okay.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay, it's fine. We disagree. I don't have a big problem with My Friend's Beer, except last time was the time. And
I guess.
Now he's against a better field. I mean, he can win. I've got him third. Hammer and Amaro I have second. We'll take a look at him, I think, winning his race on January 29th. My concern with Hammer and Amaro is that he was entered for 12.5 here about a week or 2 ago and scratched. And I always wonder what would possess them to drop that horse so severely to 12.5, especially after running such a bad race last time. Now, you want to give him an excuse at tougher field and a wet track, blah, blah, blah. That's fine, but it was a bad performance, and he's handled wet tracks even recently. So I don't like that he was entered for 12.5, and now he's in a bit tougher, but he can obviously win this race. We'll see how quick the pace gets in here. I just prefer Pit Boss of all these horses. Pit Boss had absolutely no chance, obviously, against Empty Tomb and the likes that he ran against last time. And I actually thought he ran surprisingly well 2 races back, where the rail was good. He fought with the horse who was down the rail, Optic Way, and Wild Banker sat the perfect trip at a short price that day. I thought he could be forward in here. He gets Jose Ortiz, and I just thought he'd be a slightly better price. And his recent form, a little bit dirtied up, and I'm not really thrilled with the other ones, so I'm going to try Pit Boss in here. I didn't really want anybody. 2, 4, and 5 seemed like the only horses that were mildly competitive here.
Okay.
See what happens in race number 2. The third race, we are on the turf. The outer turf, 6 furlongs. And the horse to beat is absolutely the horse on the outside that you and I both have second. Poppy Flower will show her winning the Galway. I just think the concern with her is twofold. Is the pace going to be really in her favor? It's a small field without an abundance of speed. And I'm going to show you a stat afterwards that the Mott barn off of layoffs in the turf, not very strong, and particularly in turf sprints. So I think there's some reasonable reasons to be a little bit dubious. They're much better with the routers off layoffs, but the turf sprint numbers are not good, as we'll show you. But I don't have a problem with her. She's pretty good.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She's probably the most talented filly in the race, but like you said, I don't know the layoff numbers, not surprisingly. The bigger problem is this pace scenario for her is just, it's murky to say the least. I mean, the horse I picked on top I picked her solely because I think she's just loose. And I'm hoping she just gets in front of these horses and doesn't stop today. Mac the PhD.
I didn't think she was loose, but okay. The problem with her is, where's her race that makes her competitive?
Well, I mean, I'm just hoping that her the tactics get her enough of an advantage. I mean, the horse that you can make the best case for is the horse that you picked on top. But the filly that I picked is just going to be a much better price. So I'm hoping that she just gets loose at a bigger price.
Can we switch the replays and show Going Good next, if you don't mind? I don't know if they can hear us, actually. So we'll get to go. Oh, here we go. No, this is Hit the Woe.
It's Hit the Woe.
I'm not a Hit the Woe fan. This is finishing second to Athwack. And sorry, we'll get to Going Good. We're having some audio issues here. She ran that silly buyer figure when the favorite in the race got completely left, 4 back. And she's not really that good. I always thought she was a cut below these. But I guess she's not impossible in here. The Clinmont numbers off layoffs are not great either, but she's not going to be a super short price. I'm not her biggest fan. I had her 4th.
Me too.
As far as the pace scenario, we disagree. I mean, I don't disagree that Mac PhD is a little bit faster, but I have to think the intention with Going Good, drawing inside, and the fact that she's just a better horse, and we'll take a look at her race, I guess, last time out at Fairgrounds. The horse who beat her in there, Ouvre, was a pretty nice horse, actually. It's a speed horse as well. And the second horse is a long shot, not sure how good she is. But this is a horse that, if you have on the go back, has plenty of very fast races. And I'm hoping that Manny's aggressive with her. And if she lets Mac the PhD go, fine, and set up shop outside of her and stalk. I didn't see Mac the PhD in here. We'll have to agree to disagree here. I just thought she was the best forward horse in this race. So whether she's in front or sitting second, I think we saw the same idea of speed. I just think she's better. And I'll tell you something, be careful about falling asleep on Mozienko. Because if you look up her turf races are no worse than her dirt races at the time she was running them. She seemed to be able to handle it fine. Now, I'm not confident in her. I didn't pick her on top. But she ran well enough in those races to suggest, considering how much she's improved for Dennis Laumann recently, that she's actually not totally impossible in here. Because I'll tell you something. If you think Poppy Flower is compromised by pace, isn't the race wide open? You picked a horse that's woefully slow. So you obviously think that this race is wide open if you can beat Poppy Flower.
I do. Yeah, you can make a case. I think you could. Spun Glass is a little tough to make.
She's a little tough, but Mike's a sharp trainer shipping up here, and I'm not going to be shocked if she outruns her
I
odds.
wouldn't either.
So yeah, no, I think Mozienko. Take a look at her turf races and go back and look at them, and I think you'll understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying she's going to win.
If you just think she's a better horse now, the races are the same races.
Right, she can handle it.
Those were probably two and a half years ago at this point.
Oh, they were a while ago. I didn't look up the dates. Race number 4. We'll take a look at Ouster in race number 4, coming back, who ran a huge buyer figure last time out and is way the horse to beat. I put him second, but I don't have any argument against him. He's in terrific form.
Yeah. I put him on top in here. This was a huge effort. I mean, he's won 3 of his last 4 races, 2 of them since being switched back to the dirt, I should say. And the one race he got beat by a horse who survived a wicked pace, who was probably on his way to the commentator along with this horse. Yeah, I mean, you picked majority partner, and if one of these 2 horses don't win this race, you could knock me over with a sneeze.
Yeah, I didn't think Shipsational and Looney Sema were totally impossible, particularly Shipsational, who last time out got caught in the sloppy track, and I think is interesting. I know the pace collapsed 2 back, but Aneo did come back to win a better race, so I wouldn't completely dismiss Shipsational in here, but obviously these are the 2 big choices in here. Everyone else will be a big price. We'll take a look at Majority Partner. I think we're looking at 2 back or last time, not even sure. 2 back.
2 back.
And the mile race, where he ran a winning race, and Celestial Moon got a very good trip to beat him, and it was a very quick pace. I'm just going to go. I basically agree with you, and I think the public, it's pretty obvious. The other 2 horses. I don't think either one of us is, covering any particularly clever ground.
You're not solving the Sphinx here by saying that.
We're pretending we are. I just took the horse that'll be in front, and I know he disappointed last time. He's coming back in 8 days. You can say, well, he had trouble getting the mile. Did he really? He ran one of his best races ever, and he got beaten in the neck. If he held on by a neck, people wouldn't be saying he had a problem with the mile. So in what may well be a 2-horse race, I'll take the one with speed, but nothing against Ouster. We got 4 more. The Lake pick 4. We'll come back right after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Oh, we're back. Anthony and Andy, talking horses. Late pick 4. We kick it off on the turf at 1 1/16 with a maiden special weight. And you've got the 2 all good here on top.
Yeah, dueled through a pretty quick early pace down at Tampa Bay Downs for Christophe Clement last time. Ships up here with the race under his belt. Faces State Breds. I like the fact that he has the race. You obviously like him a little less than I do. But he comes in here with that race under his belt. And I don't know if of the horses that have run, there's not an awful lot of speed in here. We'll see if any of the firsters have some gas. But of the horses that have run, he has some speed. We'll see if Dylan puts him on the front end. And yeah, I sided with him.
Yeah, I'm guessing he'll be a shorter price than this 5-1 in here.
Yeah, I would agree.
He lost to a horse, Equitize, who was heavily bet for Chad Brown. The horse he dueled with was a big price. He ran 1 Buyer Point better in his next start, so not sure how taxing the pace ultimately was, but obviously he's a contender. As you say, he could be forward, and I don't think that'll hurt his chances in this race. We'll look at Christophe Clement's other horse, and I don't particularly like either one of these horses. I do think All Good Here is better. To me, the 12 who we'll look at, I didn't think the horse did any significant running in this race. Got an absolutely perfect trip coming up the rail. Had a mild steady at one point, but nothing of any real consequence. And I just didn't think this was that. In fact, well, I like a horse out of that race, but I don't like a horse that scooted up the inside. I thought the rail was very good at this point, and I thought he benefited from it. And the horse that I'm interested in, Mama Band Me, is way back on the outside, and I should have highlighted that horse, and I apologize for not doing that. But that horse broke about 3/4 low, Mama Band Me, and while saving ground on the first turn, angled out wide in the second turn. And what impressed me about this horse, and I remembered as I was watching the replay that actually Maggie and I were talking about it after the race, because we were both sort of saying, wow, this horse made a real run in mid-stretch. Now listen, it may have been meaningless as the race was coming apart, but this horse did a little bit of running and didn't do any less running than the 12 did in this race, and did it out in the middle of the racetrack while the 12 was inside. And you wanted to be on the inside. So I think Mama Band Me at a 15-1 morning line. The 12 is 4-1. I just think if you're interested in the 12, you're supposed to at least give another look to the 10. Now, there are horses that have pedigrees in here. You have the 3, 1 Headlight second.
Yes. So Ships up. I have a little push on this horse.
So it's a tip.
Yeah, a little bit. Nothing crazy. A little bit. I wonder if this horse is named after the Wallflower song.
Yeah, I look at this horse and I think Mike Rapoli and Vinnie Viola are buying horses to try to win the Derby. And so immediately the fact that this horse is running on the turf is a red flag to me.
In April of the 3-year-old season.
It's a red flag.
Yeah, I would
now,
agree.
City of Light, and this is just his first crop. He's had some success as a turf sire. It's early, but he's had some. The Dam was 1 for 8. She wasn't much worse. This is her first foal, so there is a pedigree. She has to handle it. I think horses like this are horrendous gambles because they're going to be overbet by connections. You got Todd, you got Jose Ortiz. And to me, these are not the kind of horses I want. I'm going to look at horses more, you know, I think the one Money for Nothing, if you want the turf pedigree horse in here, it's the one Money for Nothing. And probably Munnings is up there with as good as any of the sires you can find, or no worse than some of them, though I think they were okay. The Dam was 4 for 19, hit the board in 13 turf starts, won over $340,000, a 90-plus buyer. 3 of the 4 horses from the Dam won on the turf, so I think that's the one with the pedigree. That's the one I want to use. Even Mudville 9's a little bit interesting getting on the turf. Like I said, I always respect him. And Squid Gamer, a horse I liked a little bit last time, he's a half to click a tat. I wish Violence was a better turf sire. Charlie Baker doesn't have great numbers in the turf, but I could throw that horse in a little bit as well. We'll see what happens
I like
here.
the fact that Charlie, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I like the fact that Charlie ran this horse in a mile twice. I think it gives some, put a little foundation into this horse to get this horse ready for the turf debut. You only use this horse as
You
well.
think he was prepping for turf?
I do.
We'll disagree about that. Yeah, so I'm going to take a 10, a bit of a price who I thought did a little bit of running first time out. We'll see what happens in race 5. Race number 6. I think the race number 6 is one of these races where you have to make a decision, and we made different decisions about the race. We'll take a look at the Revenger, Vintage Hollywood, and Swift Tap race. If I was going to take anybody out of there, I would take Swift Tap. But I really think this was a bottom-level race with 3 horses sort of maybe not in their best career form, battling it out to the wire, and I think I just want horses that do not come out of this race. But you have at least this one on top, but you did take other horses second and third.
Yeah, I just thought this horse is honest enough, I feel, in these levels. I mean, the other 2 races here this winter were against Overstep and Whittingham Park.
But he won a 3-horse photo here by a nose.
Yeah, I know what he did.
basically.
I know what he did. And he won an impossible photo with that. I mean, he is what he is. When he runs where he belongs, he's consistent. He didn't belong on those 2 other ends here this winter. Now he's where he belongs. He belongs at the bottom. It's no longer 8, it's 10 now, and this is where he belongs.
They may read 1, 2, 3 again. I think if you're going to take one, it's very hard to differentiate. And to me, I'd prefer Swift Tap, who could be the speed of the speed in here. Now we'll see how that works out, because the pace may be pretty quick. Little Commissioner is fine. We'll take a little Commissioner on the outside. This is a phony race he ran in last time, and Warrior Chief came back and didn't really run particularly well, to say the least. I think was dead last the next start. But it was a good rail, and he was wide, and Warrior Chief was taking advantage of the rail. So I don't have a problem with Little Commissioner. I think he's sort of the logical horse in here. You know, dropping out of the bottom, but it's not like it's a big drop. He claimed for 12.5.
Right. No, I mean, there's not much. You can't go much lower, Andy, at this point. So, yeah, I mean.
I don't even know if we're running 8s at this point,
No,
so
we're
it
not.
probably is the bottom.
Yeah, it's the bottom. We're back to the bottom
I
for
like
10.
Pool Quartet in here. Not a huge opinion, but as we're running against significantly better horses in his races, I thought his race 2 back was absolutely good enough to win this race. He's a horse that doesn't need to lead. He can stalk. The pace should be quick. I know he's an ex-Rob Atras, but he ran fine 3 weeks after he was claimed from Rob Atras in that race, and I think when he's in spots he can win in, he's just a logical horse. He won't be a big price, 3-1 morning line. I think the horse that I'm sort of most interested in, and maybe I could have put him on top, and he's either a great pick or a terrible pick, is There's a Storm of Bruin. There's a Storm of Bruin is, all 5 wins were wire to wire. The likelihood of him getting the lead here seems somewhat remote based on his recent races. It's not like, though, he has a lot of races where he's sitting second and he's got to catch somebody. And he is taking a huge drop. I have no problem with the argument that he has no form and just can't run at all anymore. But this is a significant drop and a horse that's going to be a big price. So I think he's very usable here at a price.
Okay.
Race number 7 at 1 1/8. And to me, race number 7 is one of these races where you either make one decision or the other one, and you have this horse, Whittingham Park, on top, trying to get 9 furlongs today.
Yeah, well, if I'm to believe that Alster and Overstep are as good as they are, and he's been a handful of lengths behind them in his last couple of starts, when they're not around, he gets the job done. I kind of have to stick to my guns on that. The 9 furlongs is obviously the question mark, but he got the 1 70 up at Finger Lakes, the 1:16 race. He's gaining ground. He was making up ground in 2 of the 3 starts here. I mean, last time Alster was just running away from them. So I don't think I could be wrong, but I don't think the 9 furlongs is going to be a problem for him. And honestly, I don't think he's facing particularly much.
That was actually his win 3 back. Yeah, I disagree. I think he's extremely questionable at 1 1/8 miles. You look at his races. Last time out, he made a move. He didn't finish. The time before that, he was running into a very fast pace, collapsing, and he picked up some pieces. Ouster was closer to the pace than he was. He ran a much better race. And I wonder if he's the kind of closer that going from 1 turn to 2 turns, getting into races that don't have as strong a pace, it could be his undoing. Look, I've got him 3rd. I'm not going to be shocked when he wins this race. But I thought he was a very vulnerable horse trying to get the 9 furlongs. And I think the kind of horse that's going to be tough in here, if my position is right, is Sundays with Sandy. And we'll take a look at Sundays with Sandy, who got caught up in the pace last time out. And that was a quick pace that collapsed. The other horse that had speed finished 9 1/4 lengths behind. This is actually the win 2 races back. And in this race, there really isn't any speed to significantly run with him. And I just think Romero Raj is supposed to put him on top here and hope for the best. Do I have a lot of confidence? No, because he has 2 big figure races that sort of stand out in an island. But I'm hoping today he can get loose here, and I think getting loose might help him. They were going fast early. He had a battle last time. I thought he had a viable excuse, and frankly, I didn't think he ran that badly, all things considered.
Romero's birthday today.
Well,
a nice
maybe.
birthday present for himself.
Maybe he'll get it done in this race on his birthday. I also think 6% is a little bit interesting in here. Now, you have Full Moon Fever second, and we'll look at 6% winning a race where Full Moon Fever finished 3rd. This is 3 back. Why don't you talk about Full Moon Fever in a second?
Mark Hennig trains both Ouster and Full Moon Fever. And after the race, obviously Mark was ecstatic with Ouster's performance. And the other question he had was, what was Full Moon Fever doing, dueling on the front end through those fractions? It was pretty fast fractions. So my assumption is he wanted to be a little forward, but he didn't want to be getting cooked on the front end. My guess is he'll be forward, but off of Sundays with Sandy. No, is that the right name?
But
Yes.
I understand. I know Mark told me the same thing. I think he said it on Twitter that he didn't expect me to lead, and he was annoyed that Eric went to lead because I thought he was used as a rabbit for the other horse. They were part of an entry. But which one of his races makes him so competitive here is the question, because 6% easily beat him.
Well, I don't know. I feel like since he's come back from Finger Lakes, he's gotten a little better. And the Finger Lakes form shows me that he's handled the 2 turns in the 1 1/16. I don't know. I thought he could work out a good trip off of the speed. See, I don't like Sundays with Sandys. I think there's too much randomness in his races. So if I think he can sit the trip up, and again, I haven't used it in a while, but if he can inherit him, which I think he'll do.
I thought 6% was interesting last time out. Got sort of chasing a fast pace last time. The time before that, he did not have the most comfortable trip with a big wide trip against better horses. And I know it was a wet track, but you go back to January 6th race, he ran fast enough to win, and he has run well at times going the 2-turn races. So I thought 6% was interesting. I'm going to focus on the 2 and 7 here. We'll see what happens with the 4, Whittingham Park, who will be a big favorite. Race number 8. Go ahead with Gotham Gray.
Dropping down, shipping up for Clement. I'm a sucker for the Clement horses coming in from Tampa, coming up with the racing under their belt from Florida. I admit it.
Doesn't it bother you this horse didn't take a nickel?
Yeah, didn't take a nickel and didn't run a step.
Right.
It does, but I couldn't find anything in here. I couldn't find anything too attractive. I would have liked to have bitten with Aperol Spritz, but I don't want this horse really going long. I had a little interest in shopping at Blooming's, because I love my donk horses, but I don't love the draw. So I didn't have enough of, I couldn't bite on anything, so I kind of defaulted to the Clement horse.
Okay. The 7, Janie May, and then the 6, Let Me Drink, are the ones that have a little bit of turf form. Either Let Me Drink, though he's run against better, or she's run against better. I don't know how good they were. Now, Janie May will show finishing second. Now, this was a race where Capital Gal was sort of the only horse in the race. And was she a little second by default because she was speed? Yeah, but if there's not much on paper in this race to look at, and Torres is supposed to go. Now, you never know. There could be different horses that have speed, but she clears in this race. I think she's very dangerous. And I have a stat for Michelle Nevin that I think will surprise people. Her 4 to 8 month layoffs in the maidens and turf routes, there aren't that many of them. There aren't that many of them, and I just feel like this horse, this horse is dangerous in here, but I do think that Spurs is very interesting. I'm assuming it rounds at Spurs. The dam is 2 for 2 with her production on turf, so that's pretty good. She wasn't much of a turf horse, but you've had a couple, one with 70 buyers and 80 buyers. That's the Michelle Nevin stat. As far as Spurs, so there's pedigree with this one. I know this horse could be somewhat forward, though I'm no idea where she's going to be from a pace standpoint. But to me, this was the one that had the most interesting breeding here. I get with Aerosol Spritz what you're going with. That was it's a gamble. Who is better going shorter, has one going longer. But I thought that Spurs would be a decent enough price here and had the pedigree you wanted, because this has the look of a very hungry field. I got the 1/3 by default, but I think it's highly likely this horse can't run at all. We'll see how it works out in race number 8. We're fast and we are firm in what is midsummer weather, though I think tomorrow it's going to not be cold, but it'll be not quite as warm. But still, it's been enjoyable. Turf's gotten very firm very quickly. We're off, I think, 9 feet on the outer and 12 feet on the inner, just like yesterday. We'll see how things play out. Head over to Naira Bets, use the promo code BONUS200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have the $75 each on Aqueduct and Keeneland. Have to opt in for that. Earn $15, win or lose. The stake at Keeneland, the 9th is the Maker's Mark. Interesting turf sprint there as well. I think the 7th, 3-year-old fillies. The Aqueduct Saturday contests are back. $300 buy-in, cash, and seat prizes. Head over to naira.com/contests. And finally, 1 to 3 and 4 to 6, covering here and Oaklawn. So enjoy all the action. That's on FS2, America's Day at the Races. And Chris Griffin is coming up next in just a few minutes with these reprise of Scratches and Changes. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.